Hey everyone, John Henry here, slingshotfutures.com, and welcome to the Market Mindset, where we take a look at the psychology behind the moves today so we can better understand tomorrow. And today we're taking a look at the Bund, that is the FGBL contract. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Eurex markets, that is part of the Eurex kind of group of markets, along with the FDAX and the FESX and some of the other ones. Now, the Bund as a whole is a phenomenal market, and it's kind of like a crossbreed between the S&P and the bonds. It's a little bit slower, but a little more methodical, picks a direction and usually continues that direction for the day. Now, looking at the overall movement, first of all, one big thing really stands out here. Our daily Outlook support levels that we were talking about yesterday afternoon in the Outlook newsletter talked about 161.27 down to 161.24 is support. They did find that area of support very aggressively earlier in the day, and when they came back to it after rallying to a brand new high, we had the exact same thing. So a nice strong bounce there, back up to a new high once again. But before we get into that fun stuff here, we had a little bit of a failure on the highs in a range-bound environment overall. We had a nice move down, 3 pushes down into that major support, and a huge rally to the upside, which led into a pullback and a new high. Now, the one big thing that stands out here is the fact that the buyers just completely disappeared. They broke above, completely failed. When they tried to show back up, they failed again, and that allows the sellers to say, well, this is probably a range then if the buyers aren't showing up to the party, and likely it is, in this case, going back down to the support. So we're looking to sell to drive the market back down into that area of support. Before we get down to that area of support, we find a little bit of a pause here, buying into a doji, into bearish, into bullish, into bearish, lots of back and forth inside here, right around that gap fill area, and the buyers likely were trapped in, and that's why I like this sell move right here, mainly just due to the fact that we had a lot of back and forth inside here and a nice bear candle to fill the gap into immediate bullish pressure right back up at a double top high, right? A little micro double top there. And a lot of buyers are going to see that as an opportunity to jump in for continuation to the upside, and they bought above it and immediately swung right back down against them. And that is going to make a lot of buyers exit early. Instead of taking the full stop underneath there or underneath there, this is completely horrible context for them to be wanting to buy into, and they'll likely exit below, causing a spike down. So another very nice selling opportunity to drive it down into the major support. Now, in the US session, we hit that support again, and a very firm bounce, right? And this is what you would call a no-joke bounce. It hit it and immediately rocket shipped to the upside with a very strong bull candle here, closing on its highs. So that tells you that one big thing here, the buyers obviously still very interested in this level between 61.27 and 61.24, as if they haven't proven that already. The retest of that area shows that the buyers regain confidence in their earlier positions back here and are looking for another rally back up to at least attempt the high of day. So a nice little buying opportunity there. And if you wanted to wait for a little bit of a pullback, a lot of times when you have these big bull candles or big bear candles, you usually end up being able to get a better price. Not always, and doing that way you may miss the trade, but sometimes you'll be able to get a nice little pullback and then go in from there. And that allowed another buy signal right back up to the highs before we wrapped up the morning session. So just a phenomenal day of price action with both psychology with the buyers getting stuck right around that gap area, as well as technical from our Outlook newsletter talking about major support between 27.24, and it worked out to the T. So that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you found it interesting. Maybe you find it a little bit entertaining, and we'll see you next time.